Good morning. We are here at the end of the semester. Your final assignment for the semester is entitled Sport Gaming. I think we've covered a variety of topics this semester, and this should be, I don't know, for me personally, if I were to do this assignment, this is the one that I would find the most interesting, right? The way it's going to work is you are going to have to put together a PowerPoint presentation. Your PowerPoint presentation should have two separate components. The first component of this, which is going to be 50% of this grade, is you essentially presenting chapter 14. You are summarizing chapter 14. It's about 16 pages of actual writing, and you are going to highlight the major topics. This should be 5 to 7 slides. And think of it as exactly how I present the chapters to you. Mine are probably a little bit longer. Mine could be like 10 to 12 slides. I'm only asking you guys to give me 5 to 7 slides, and you're going to highlight the major topics in a PowerPoint presentation. Of course, this should also include a voiceover, right? So you have to speak and present everything. The second part of this assignment, the second part of this presentation is bringing in research. So the chapter has got a few different major topics. It talks about fantasy sports, it talks about sports gaming and esports, and it also talks about sports gambling. What you are going to do is choose one of these major topics, just one. So let's say we want to choose fantasy sports. What you are supposed to do is you are supposed to find 3 peer-reviewed articles that talk about some aspect of fantasy sports, and it could be varied. I don't really care too much. And what you should do is you should have 1 slide per peer-reviewed article. What should be included in that slide? Again, if you guys know me, I'm a big peer-reviewed research guy, right? The slide should include the purpose of the study, the methodologies they used in the study, and the major findings. That should all be within 1 slide, right? And then finally, you should have a conclusion slide, really kind of like the future of your major topic. So how is this graded? Well, 50% is you guys essentially presenting chapter 14 to me, teaching chapter 14 to me. Of those 50%, again, if this was graded out of 100, 30 points are making sure you highlight the major topics and present them clearly for me to understand. 20% is based on, or 20 points is based on both your presentation styles. You should say 10 and 10. So 10% or 10 points is going to be from you visually presenting a visually appealing presentation. It should be concise. My rule of thumb is approximately 10 words or less per bullet point. And then the other 10% would be you actually speaking, right? Being professional, so on and so forth, right? The next 40% is going to be you diving into the research. Okay, so 10%, 10 points is simply you just appropriately selecting a topic from the chapter. So like I said, it could be fantasy sports, it could be sports gambling, right? Now keep in mind we're talking about online stuff. Okay, then 20 points or 20% is going to be the 3 peer-reviewed articles, making sure you summarize them appropriately. And then another 10% is, again, how the slides are presented. The final 10% of this, I think, is just a wrap-up slide. I think it's an easy 10%. Make sure you're summarizing your major topic that you chose. So summarize fantasy sports, what the research says, and then summarize what the article, what the text and chapter talks about. So a little hint to help you guys. Now, you could just dive into the research if you want and just go to Google Scholar or PubMed or Sports Discus, and you could type in, fantasy sports, whatever it is. Or your text oftentimes talks about what research says. So when you're reading your textbook, it says, oh, Smith et al. Said this. It might be a good idea for you to look at the article that the textbook is referencing and then maybe have that be one of your articles. Right, so that's just a thought. Remember, your 3 peer-reviewed articles should be about one major topic. So I shouldn't have one peer-reviewed article on fantasy sports, one on e-gaming, and one on sports gambling. It should all 3 should be on one specific topic that you've chosen to discuss. So if you kind of do the math, all right, 5 to 7 slides summarizing chapter 14, 1 slide per peer-reviewed study, plus 1 slide on the conclusion. At the bare minimum, this should be 9 slides. It could be more. I'll say let's cap it no more than 14 slides. No more than 14 slides, because at the end of the day, I have to watch all of these videos for each of you guys. In terms of time, this should be no more. Absolute most is 15 minutes. Somewhere probably between 8 minutes and 15 minutes for your audio over voiceover. If you guys have any questions, let me know.